Hello. Gracias para venir para atrás a mi canal. Thank you for coming back to my channel. Today, we're going to talk about self-esteem. My name is Araceli Galvan. I work for a nonprofit organization, and my title is a community wellness specialist. I specialize in mental health and other aspects in behavioral therapy. So technically, it's kind of like I'm a behavioral specialist, and I observe a lot of people's behaviors. But today, as I mentioned, we're going to talk about self-esteem. Self-esteem really strikes a chord to my little heart because I know that I've struggled with self-esteem since high school. Everybody has different experiences with self-esteem. I know that it happens a lot with girls and women, but I think that we should also remember that, hey, guys deal with a lot of self-esteem issues too. There's such a huge struggle and just a constant thing that guys have to put through with society, making them think they all gotta be buff or they gotta be tan or whatever it is. They have their own higher standards that they also have to follow through with our own society. So self-esteem can really hit anyone at any age, at any time, and considering whatever type of situation you might be going through, maybe your self-esteem is not like where it used to be. So I know how that feels like. I know that's something that I've struggled my whole life. And now that I'm 30, I think I could say that my self-esteem is a lot more higher and better than what it was 5 to even a year ago. Even 6 months ago, because I think my self-esteem was really low about really low. So thank you guys for coming back. Please subscribe, like, share this to a lot of the girls that you know, so they can know all these tips, my experience, and maybe I can help someone out, because I've been in a relationship for a really long time. So I know that it's hard to really work on your self-esteem when you're in a relationship. So it's going to be kind of like a different outlook of how you can achieve a really good self-esteem while being in a relationship. But I'm also going to talk about the benefits of how not being in a relationship is going to be a lot better with your self-esteem, and how it's going to actually increase your ability to have a better self-esteem. So stay tuned. Keep watching. I'm not going to be boring. My stories are going to be amazing. Not amazing, but give me some feedback. If I'm a little boring, if I talk too much, please let me know. I'm going to try to make this video as short as I can, okay? I always say that, but it never happens. Oh, let's keep going. First, let's talk about self-esteem. What is self-esteem? Self-esteem is having a low self-esteem about yourself. So really thinking really crappy about yourself, not thinking that you can amount to anything, not thinking you're good enough in regards to the way you look, your skills, anything that you do, you just are not, you don't think positive about yourself. So that's having a really low self-esteem. And that goes with self-love. If your self-esteem is really low, then that means that you don't know how, you haven't learned how to love yourself. You haven't realized the best part of you. So that's where I'm going to try to help you guys out to see how you can figure out your own way of learning how to love yourself and how to improve your self-esteem and how to overcome that challenge, because I know it can be really difficult and everybody's different, like as I mentioned. So self-esteem. My self-esteem first got shattered during my high school experience, as I mentioned before. You guys pause because I have mocos. We good now, but now it seems like I just did a little lie, but I did it, okay? So my self-esteem got really shattered in high school. Like I mentioned in my other videos, a lot of the boys were really mean to me. They bullied me. They slut-shamed me. They said a lot of bullying names to me, not just boys, but also girls. So in connection of all that stuff, I know that that's when my self-esteem was kind of like already dwindling down. On top of the fact that every time I would have a crush on someone, I would like communicate that and I would get rejected. So that added on to also my self-esteem is like, I mean, in reality, I got rejected a lot during high school, and I would put myself out there and then it was rejection after rejection after rejection. So that kind of shattered my self-esteem. But when I graduated, my self-esteem was not at best place. So that put me in a position where people took advantage of me even more. So because of my self-esteem being lower, I allowed people to take advantage of me physically, emotionally. People stole from me. I got cheated on. It was a lot of things that just occurred between the ages of 18 and 21 where, because I didn't love myself, I allowed other people to take advantage of me in all aspects. I thought that everybody was a sweetheart. I thought that everybody was nice. And when I went out in the real world, I realized like, oh shit, not everybody's nice. And I got taken advantage of. And hey, lesson learned. Those type of situations did not allow me to change as a person in a way of still being a good person. Like, I still wanted to be a good person, but at the same time I was being taken advantage of, and that hurt my self-esteem. So it was kind of like a vicious cycle. So I just learned to be good and nice and giving and forgiving towards people that are willing to reciprocate the same feeling. So if I know that someone is repeating the same patterns, the same behaviors, even though I've forgiven them or given them a chance to come back into my life or be cordial, if they continue to do the same behaviors they did in the past, then I am going to cut you out. And that's how I learned to love myself. So it's just kind of learning your boundaries as you get older. In the past, I would just let friendships and relationships or even coworkers or strangers take advantage of me because I was so nice and I didn't want to hurt their feelings, and all I was doing was really hurting myself. And I was like, no, you know what? I'm still me and I love me. And why should I let other people take advantage of me because I'm a nice person? It's okay to say no. You know, it's okay to be like, no, you know what? You too mean. I'm just going to stay away. Or I'm just going to keep my distance, because sometimes they could be family members, and I know it's a little hard because you might see them at family parties or functions, but it's okay to keep it cordial. It's okay to be like, hi, how are you? Oh, good, okay. And then on your way. Or you don't even have to say, hi, how are you? You just say, hello, and you go about your biz, and you go sit down at another table where they're far, far away. And then if they come talk to you, just be prepared. As I mentioned in my other videos, in situations like that, you got to be prepared. Practice with someone when someone else is being negative around you and you know they're going to come at you and they hurt your self-esteem. Be prepared. Be prepared to either walk away and be the bigger person, or be prepared to cordially communicate and say, hey, I don't want to have this conversation. If you want to, I'd rather do it in a private setting, not with my family being around. But sometimes it's a bit hard when we're drinking. So just think about that, you guys. But going on into self-esteem as I got older, even though all that stuff was going on, pause. Now I'm going to fill the little gaps for you. Okay? My situation went down like this with my self-esteem. I was 18. A bunch of people took advantage of me, like I explained to you. That's when I met my son's father, and he was not faithful. I broke off the relationship. It was very, very difficult because I really, really cared about him a lot. I loved him. My heart was like, no, but my brain was like, yo, you gotta let it go because that's just pretty dumb. And I did. I let it go, and I started dating new people. I started dating a new guy, completely different. But for some reason, I just didn't really close a chapter of the relationship of my son's father. So I decided to end a relationship that I had started, and I went back to the old one to just kind of see if things will roll out, because in my mind I was like, okay, I forgive you. I've had that space. It was about a year, and I thought I was mentally ready, but I was not mentally ready. I was wrong. And then I got pregnant. So it was very back to back to back to back. So I got pregnant, and then so I didn't really solve. I thought I did. I thought I solved the relationship, and what was still dragging me, what had happened in the past, there was no closure. So in my pregnancy, I was really sad and depressed because I still hadn't dealt with what had happened in the past, even though I thought I did, which was the infidelity. So my pregnancy wasn't a very happy experience because I was also doing substance abuse. I was drinking, smoking marijuana. So I was also withdrawing. So there was a lot of stuff going on during that time. And as I got older, one of the things that really, really helped me was the fact that I had my cousin constantly tell me, have your shit together, have your own money, never depend on a man. So even though all that stuff was going on, in my mind, I was always kind of like making sure I always did stuff for me. So despite me being in a very long-term relationships, and there was a lot of ups and downs, and there was a lot of disagreements, or we didn't really agree with what type of things we wanted to do, like just hobbies wise, I was very, very stubborn. So I was like, when I went through my phase with clubbing, I was like, you coming with me. If not, I'm going by myself. And I was lucky enough that he was like, okay, screw it, because he was really shy, and he went along the ride. And then I went through my phase where like, I want to go to festivals, and I don't care if you don't want to go, I'm going on my own. And what did he do? He's like, all right, I gotta go. So he came in and he came. So I was fortunate enough that despite the fact that like I was very immature when I got pregnant, and I still, because I was not even 21, you guys, I was 20 years old, and I gave birth. And I remember breastfeeding, and I remember deciding not to breastfeed anymore because I wanted to drink because I was turning 21. So I was lucky enough that, yes, I had my ups and downs with my partner. And there's a lot of things that I wish we wouldn't have done to each other because I'm not perfect. There's other things that I've done that contributed to a lot of not good decisions and not making our relationship a lot more healthier. So, but like I mentioned, I was fortunate enough that I've had a partner that allowed me to do the things that I wanted to do, no matter what, even pursue an education. I pursued an education no matter what. I did things that I wanted to do for me. I did consider my partner in these decisions because it's important that you do consider decisions, but at the same time, I made sure that that decision still was more about me. And I think that that's what kind of helped me holding on to my love towards me. Like I always try to do stuff for me. And then at the same time, I've also compromised and I did stuff for him. And I bent over backwards for him. So there's just a balance. But in between all that stuff, we were not going to therapy. I wasn't really doing anything, even though I knew I should have gone to therapy. To at least help my self-love. We did a couple of times, but it wasn't consistent. And then finally when it hit the fan, about 8 months ago is when I realized, was like, it's all or nothing. We got to do couples therapy because it's whole vicious. We were in this cycle of just screaming and arguing and just not being nice to each other anymore. And it was this vicious cycle that I just wanted to break. So we decided to go to therapy. And then when I went to therapy is when I realized, like, holy bejesus, I depended on my partner to fulfill my own self-love. That's what I realized. That's what I had an epiphany. I'm like, okay, yeah, I was doing my stuff for me all the time, but I was still expecting my partner to fill that love void that I should have done for me. Like, I needed to love me. I needed to love the way I looked. I needed to love what I was doing. I needed to love everything of me. So the therapist did suggest for me to do individual therapy, but I hadn't done it yet. And I still haven't done it. I'm going to be honest. I still haven't done individual therapy, but having a talk with my girls and, venting and problem solving, I realized that it's something that I definitely do have to do. And I'm really hoping that this inspires other girls to go ahead and go seek therapy, regardless if you're in a relationship or not, a toxic or not, because it's going to help you get that strength you need to get out of the relationship if you have to, or it'll give you that love or self-love that you've always needed, that maybe your partner has given you that certain love, but it's a different type of love that you never really saw. And the love that you've always wanted, now you could just give it to yourself. You don't got to worry about nobody. You just love you. And there's so many ways of you figuring out ways to love yourself. One exercise that you can do is a compliment jar that I've suggested on my page. I've started doing it. I did slack off, but I'm going to add 7 days because I've been 7 days off since I went on my vacation. But let me go get it. Here it is, you guys. So I have, it's kind of embarrassing. I have like only 3, and I posted it on my Instagram, but I'm going to go back and see so I can catch up, because I do remember doing a similar exercise with the couples therapist where your partner has to send you a text message or tell you verbally something positive about you. And I had to do the same thing to my partner, and we had to do that for about a couple of weeks, and it really helped out in remembering, oh, okay, yeah, I do love you because of that. You know, sometimes you get lost in all this fogginess of all these years of being with someone for 10 years that you really forget to appreciate the actual positives because you got so used to being in the negative rut. But if your partner does not want to participate in something like this, do it yourself, and that will hopefully help you leave this relationship. Because I will tell you this, regardless if I've been in a relationship or not for 10 years, I know for a fact that if I wasn't in a relationship for 10 years, learning how to love me would have been a lot easier, and it would have came a lot faster to figure out in a heartbeat. I will never suggest for you to say, oh, okay, being in a relationship is going to help you learn it or something. No, that's just not going to happen. You will learn how to love yourself if you're single. So I always suggest, do not be in a relationship until you learn to love you. And if you're in a relationship and in that relationship hurted your ability to love you, do not jump into another relationship. Pause and regain your ability to love you again. Then jump into a relationship if you're ready. But do not jump into a relationship if you do not love you, because you're going to go back to that vicious cycle that you were in the past with the other relationship, and it's not going to be a good journey. It's just, why would you want to repeat history? Like, it's repeating history again. Don't. Do things differently. Don't jump into another relationship. And that's how you get into a codependency thing. Is that we get used to being in a relationship, and then we're like, oh my God, I don't know what to do if I don't have somebody. And then you jump into another relationship because you're so used to wanting to have someone. I think it's super important that as young women and men, we have to learn how to be by ourselves. I think it's super cool to know that someone was able to get their apartment and to get their own car, and not have a girl the whole time. I mean, how can you do that? How can you have a girlfriend and get an apartment and get a job and get a car and all that stuff? Like, you won't even have time to do that. Like, I think I would have been able to accelerate all my stuff if I was single, because I don't got to worry about taking care of other people. You're just worried about taking care of you. That's the benefit part. Like, you don't got to ask for permission. You don't got to do nothing. You do shit for you. And that's the best part about being single. You don't got to worry about what the other person thinks. Hey, you know what? I can do whatever I want. You don't tell me how to live my life. That's what I always say. You don't tell me how to live my life, because I love me, okay? So get that straight. So anyways, I know that's being a little exaggerating, but that's just the reality of it. Being by yourself is going to accelerate learning how to love you, because you're not going to have anybody else telling you how you're bad at all this stuff. And one exercise that you can definitely do to improve you, and I would say you have to be really mentally ready for this, is ask someone you love or you care about to tell you, what do you think I need to fix about me? And be ready for that. You know, don't get offended. Don't get sad. Be ready, because it's okay. It's okay, because that shows that you're ready to grow as a person. And that little thing that is bad about you, so what? You can fix it. You ain't stuck like that forever. People think like, oh, well, I've been like this for so many years. I don't know. No, you can do it. You can do it. It's just a habit. It's all in here. All in your cabeza. Aprende. Es todo en tu cabeza. Por eso necesitas ir a la loquera, porque ella te ayuda cómo arreglar tu cabeza, porque los acostumbramos en unas cosas que no tenemos que hacer. And that's just the way it is. And it goes down to our culture. You know, it's funny because it's the same thing with our culture, because a lot of the times in the Hispanic culture, we tend to stay in relationships because we're scared about what our families are going to think, or what the tias are going to say. Are they going to chismear and all that stuff? And we want to keep it together because we keep it together. But you know what? It's okay, you guys. We're all getting divorces here and there. You know, Hispanic, whites, black, whatever. We're all getting divorces, you know. And it's part of our culture because we jump into relationships. That's just the way it is sometimes. And sometimes people change, and some people are not as honest as we think we are. And we end up being with partners that we think they have the same morals, but they don't. And that's what bites us in the butt. But honestly, I think that us as a community, even in our Latin culture, I think people will be surprised of how supportive we are Like, if people are going through a divorce, like, we're just like, hey, you know what? It is what it is. Like, we all go through our own shit. Like, we ain't perfect. Let's stop painting that picture, you know? And I think it's okay to come together as comadres and be like, it's all right. Let's get our kids together and let's have our own potluck. Let's do our own dating thing as comadres. You know, it is what it is. See the positive of everything. But I really think it's really important that we realize that being in a relationship is not going to help love yourself. If it's actually hurting your ability to learn how to love yourself, it's not a good combination. I think it's always best for you guys to take a break for whatever is going on, whether it's a friendship or a partner or a family member. If they're really negative or you guys are negative towards each other, take a break because you guys are hurting each other's self-esteem. And maybe if you could break it down to the person, like, what is the whole point of us doing this? And eventually we do continue to talk, or eventually we're okay the next few days or after. Why do we keep hurting each other? Why? That's the question all the time. Why? I've been asking why since I was born. Why, mommy? Pero por qué? Pero por qué? Pero por qué? Sí? Pero por qué? Why, mommy? Why? I'm never going to stop asking why. Because if you don't ask why, you don't get answers. So don't be scared to ask why, you guys. Why? And you see these decorations? My birthday was last Tuesday, so I'm going to keep them up for a month. Because you know why? I like it. Because I love me. I'm celebrating me over here. You see? Right here? Self-love. Right here. Self-love. I was looking in the wrong screen, so sorry. But anyways, let me keep going. One suggestion that I always tell everybody is that sometimes our self-esteem gets hindered over the relationships we'd had with our family members, like our caregivers. It could be our mother or father or anyone that was a parent figure, or it could be your sibling or cousin or friend or an ex-boyfriend. A lot of the things that may happen to you as a child or as a teen that really hurt your self-esteem or your ability to love you is gonna get set throughout your whole life, or you're just gonna carry that with you throughout all of your relationships because you weren't able to heal whatever you went through with your past relationship. So remember about that, you guys. That's why I always suggest for you guys to seek therapy, because the therapist will kind of help you figure out, like, oh, okay, like, because of that, because a person told me over and over and over that I was this X, Y, and Z, all these negative things about me that were really untrue, or maybe there was some valid to it, but not to that extent where they have to tell you so many times. And that's what causes us as human beings to have low self-esteem, is when another human being is constantly telling you all these negative things about you, constantly, over and over and over, and then it just gets stuck in your brain. And it works the same way with saying positive affirmation towards your kids or your loved ones or anyone around you that you have a relationship. Every time you say something positive over and over and over, it's going to stick. So I always suggest the caregivers always say positive things to your kids. Give them constructive criticism. Explain to them what they did wrong. But at the same time, remind them the things that they're good at, so that they are able to use what they're good at to fix what they're not as good at, or to improve and be at where they need to be. But not perfect, right? Because we're not perfect. So I think that just going to therapy, being the ability to talk about things, willingly to want to problem solve is a huge thing. Another coping skill that I forgot to mention is writing in a journal. I'm pretty much kind of hashing out all the negative stuff that you're thinking. Rip it apart, burn it, bury it, keep it, whatever's going to make you feel better. That's another coping skill that I would suggest. Another thing is doing a, what do I call it? I do it with my clients. It's called a positive poster. It's a motivational poster. So basically you're going to cut out all the stuff. It's kind of like a vision board, but basically you put quotes, pictures, things that you will like, and things that will motivate you to be more of a better person. So the reason why that board is going to work is because it's kind of like when you wake up, right? You wake up and right away you go to your phone, right? And you're constantly seeing things that might make you depressed or feel bad about yourself.
Maybe you're following like fitness things or models, and it just makes you feel really shitty about yourself. It's always good to have a board to remind you of how beautiful you are. You know, if you gotta have pictures of yourself, of the best self of yourself, then you put it up there to remind you how beautiful you are. You do that. Okay, it's the same thing. You wake up, you're on your phone, boom, boom, boom. You see things, it makes you sad, puts you already in a bad mood. Instead of doing that, do not go on your phone, look at your board, remember how beautiful you are, and start your day a lot more positive. That's why I always suggest a vision board, because it's technically like what you do with your phone, but just it's physical there. It's not electronic. So, and that's a big difference. If you could carry something like that in your phone, so be it. So it reinforces the way you should think about yourself. Beautiful. Beautiful on the inside and out. Okay? Okay? Sticky notes. You can put sticky notes all over your room and say, hey, you're beautiful. Hey, Chelly, look at you. You're doing great things. Hey, Chelly, you helped someone today. Hey, Chelly, you look great even with your pimps. With your pimples. So sticky notes of positive affirmation everywhere and everywhere, in your car, in your room, restroom, to remind you and reinforce how good you feel about yourself. Okay? Check yourself every time you find yourself judging you or other people, because it's a habit that you created because you're so hard on yourself, and it's part of your low self-esteem. So do not judge. Check yourself.
So just remember, please, you guys, talk about these things. It's okay. We're all insecure and we all have low self-esteem at some time. And I hope this video really, really helped out. And I hope that this video can help other women out in regards to them being in a relationship and they need to leave. Because if you go to therapy, it might take 6 months, it might take a year, but it could help you finally get that confidence to realize your own worth, to leave that relationship. Maybe talking to a friend is going to help you figure out your own self-worth. But always detaching yourself from very toxic relationship is really going to accelerate your ability to love you and do things for you all the time and not have to worry about what the other person thinks because they ain't like it, or because they jelly, or because they don't understand. I'm very fortunate enough that since I've started this YouTube channel, my partner's been somewhat supportive, and although he's shy and he doesn't really want to be a part of it, I know eventually I'm gonna reel him in, just like how I have in the past. Just gotta, just sizzle it. But because of my ability to love me and my ability to stay stern, it kind of helps him be the same way. So it's trial and error, you guys. I mean, I'm fortunate enough to have a partner that we know each other's faults and we know the things that we both did to each other where we're willing to learn and grow. But I will say that if it gets to a point where one or the other, we hit a plateau and we don't want to grow together as partners, then that means we gotta go our separate ways. But we'll see where it goes, you guys. I'm staying positive like I always do. I know that I need to go to therapy because when I talk to my girls, it's something that I need to do for myself to make sure that I'm making the correct decisions. And I had to practice what I preach. I've been procrastinating individual therapy, but now I'm ready. I'm ready to figure it out, and I hope this motivates you guys to do it. I'm going to share my experience. I will have another video how my experience was with couples therapy because it was really, really beneficial. It helped out a lot working with a therapist that knows his stuff, and his approach was really, really interesting. I really liked it because he kind of just got to the point. It was just straight to the point and to kind of problem solve and kind of get in the nitty gritty. So I hope this, I keep saying hope, because I do. I hope this motivates you guys. But thank you guys again for watching. I really hope this video helped out a lot. Like I mentioned, my journey is not over. I know that I realize I love myself now more than when I used to, but I know there's still a lot more work to be done because I'm a human being and there's always room for growth. Remember that? There's always room for growth. Right? Teach your kids to love themselves, okay, before they want to have a boyfriend. When they tell you, Mommy, ¿puedo tener un boyfriend? Do you love you? Do you love you? Do you think you're ugly? Pues no, pues qué bueno. Porque si él te dice que sí, no le hagas caso, sí o sí. O si él piensa que sí, y tú lo crees, entonces córtalo. Because that means you ain't ready to be in a relationship. If someone is being negative towards you, and you can't handle it, and it's something little maybe you ain't ready for a relationship. Don't be in a relationship. Learn to love you first. then go into relationship. Practice that first, you guys. Do the do the affirmation jar. See how that works. Let me know how that works, you guys. Let me know. I'm going to keep on doing it, and then I'm going to read all of them to myself, and I'm going to see how I feel about it. I got to stop now.
Thank you for watching. Please say something funny so you can be part of my show. I'll feature you. Yeah. I love you guys. See you in my next video.